Hello and welcome to part 12 of my Hogwarts MOC series. No, your eyes don't deceive you, this is an actual update. I apologise to everybody who got excited when they saw my last update. April Fools, unfortunately, but it was actually quite gratifying to see the number of people who were disappointed, because that means there are a few of you out there who are looking forward to these updates, which is fantastic. There I go using that word again. So I am properly back now for update number 12, and it's a slight change to what I originally said I was going to do. So this is obviously not the Hufflepuff common room, this is Firenze's classroom. Now, for those of you who don't know, in the 5th book, so Order of the Phoenix, after Professor Trelawney is fired by Professor Umbridge, Dumbledore finds a replacement in the Centaur Firenze. This was left out of the films, possibly just due to pacing, but it's a nice little element that is in the books, and I was inspired to create this mainly because of the parts I had. So, you'll recognise this building here is the Viaduct entrance building, which I did a previous video about. The link is up there if you want it. And in that video, I showed the library that is just here, and then I showed that the ground floor, as we call it in the UK, was empty. So I decided I wanted to fill that up. Now, what happens in the book is that Firenze becomes teacher, but because he's a centaur, Dumbledore has to create some alternative accommodations for him to teach, and that takes the form of taking an unused classroom on the ground floor and turning it into a sort of forest-like habitat for him to teach in. His teaching style is very different from Professor Trelawney's, and no idea if it's any more effective, but it's an interesting little subplot of the series. So what I did was take a lot of pieces that I already had in my collection, as well as some pieces from the Forbidden Forest set that was released last year now, I think, the one with Grawp and the Centaurs, and turned the ground floor of this building into Firenze's classroom. So as I mentioned, this was created using parts that I already had in my collection, so I didn't need to make any orders for this, although I did use pieces from some recent sets that I have got. So it's not perfect, and I may well come back to it in the future and make a few changes, but for now I am very happy with what I have created. So, for those of you who remember that last video, you will notice that I've changed the supports for the first floor here. In that original video, the supports were exactly the same as these here, so there were two big arches and then one smaller one made of these small arch pieces there. What I first did was try to add trees to the inside, but then I realised actually that those arches were hiding a lot of the detail. So what I've done is create the structures anew with these brown and dark brown arches. It's not exactly the same as the one above. This uses just a single, I think it's a 1x12 arch piece, and this actually uses two of those 1x5 arches. So it's not exactly the same, but it's similar enough that I think you get the idea, but at the same time it looks like the room has been overtaken by trees. So I've taken the Viaduct entrance building off of those multicoloured supports, which I'm just using to prop it up until I finish the rockwork. Incidentally, after I have finished the Hufflepuff common room, I'm going to be heading on to do the rockwork for that. I haven't planned out what's going to go underneath it, but I want to at least get those rocks finished and get the structure sorted. Anyway, this is what it looks like just down on the surface of the table. Just coming in a bit closer, you can see I've placed one of the Centaurs just there. I'm not sure if I'm going to mod this at all, so it's a little bit more like how Firenze is described in the books, or if I'm just going to leave it as is. I do like the Centaur pieces. I do wish they were posable. That's the only thing. But other than that, I really do like them. I've tried to add in as many details as I can. So you'll see I've included the mushrooms from that Forbidden Forest set. So that's actually a sand green sausage piece, and then a white round 1x1 plate with the hole through the middle, and then a small 2x2 radar dish. There's one there, and then one hiding just behind Firenze there. And of course I've added in lots of plant details. In fact, quite a few bits here came from my Pirates of Barracuda Bay set. I've actually taken the island apart and popped the pieces away for now, so I was able to use some of them to decorate around here. I've also included a few animals dotted around. So for instance, there is a small yellow frog at the back there. There's a spider hanging on a web there. There is Hedwig just there, although I'm just pretending it's an owl at the moment. And then in the background there, you can just see another spider and a bat hanging upside down. Another feature that I wanted to include was the small campfire just here. This has just been very crudely made with a brick with studs on all sides. I think it's called a Travis brick, I'm not quite sure why. And then with a few brown pieces coming off to make it look like logs, and then fire coming out of the top. I might revise that in the future. That's the only lesson that's actually described, I believe, is one where they basically just lie on the ground and breathe in the smells from the campfires. Don't know whether it actually does anything, but it's just a nice little detail. Even though having a campfire and inside in a room made of wood, I don't know, it's magic anyway, it doesn't really matter. So I've got that, and what I'll do in future is pop some minifigures around there, maybe lying down or standing up, and that kind of completes the room. I was quite happy with how I managed to get that tree trunk piece. That's one big curved piece with those two arches coming off it, and then I've actually included on the other side one of those smaller 2x2 sort of quarter round cylinder pieces, which I don't really have too many of, just to fill that tree. There are some branches and things stuck up into the roof there. Like I said, this was really something that I just pulled together from stuff that I already had. I suppose the last detail really is just a lantern I included there, not because it's described as being there in the book or anything, but just because it's a nice detail and I thought the room could do with some illumination. So that is my classroom. It was basically something to tide me over because the post has been a bit unkind and hasn't delivered the orders that I need for my Hufflepuff common room. You can see that it's going to be just in there, and a few different pieces have arrived. I won't show you exactly what's under there now, just for fear of spoiling it. But hopefully those pieces will arrive on Tuesday, and then I can complete that project and then get that video finally out for real this time. So stay tuned for that. Hopefully be able to get that out midweek, all being well. And then, like I said, the next stage will be to get this section of the castle all propped up on its rockwork. So then finally I can have this entire part of Hogwarts just here. Imagine that's in its right place, with rockwork completed, and it'll look really good from the outside. So until then, have a good time, and if you've enjoyed this video, please leave a like down below and subscribe to my channel for those future updates. Thank you very much. Bye.